We don't hire low-income individuals from single-parent households, the president said. I saw something extraordinary at that very moment. The employees started laughing as soon as the president spoke. I pushed the words out and turned away from them, saying, "I'm leaving." I exited the room while feigning composure because I was really upset and angry. Has anything occurred yesterday? Tell me about it. After saying that, I began to describe the events of the previous day. My mother's face flushed with rage as I spoke, and she balled her fists. Are you serious? Her expression changed to one of utter wrath as soon as she uttered that. She reached for her phone. Cancel the account worth $500 million. What? There was a moment of stillness before the president frantically responded. He never imagined that his disdain for lone mothers would come back to punish him so severely. I'm Jessica Sanders, and I'm 52 years old. I grew up in a little Midwest city where I was born. My mom and I stood by one another after my dad passed away too soon. Despite our low income, I was raised to be industrious and strong because of my mother's hard labor. I studied economics at a state university after being awarded a scholarship. I worked part-time jobs while attending college to help my mom, all while focusing on my studies. My life gradually came together as a result. I was hired by a local bank when I graduated. For almost 30 years, I worked there developing my financial expertise. However, I started to worry about my future and made the decision to quit my job due to recent personnel reductions and the deteriorating work climate. I'm looking for a job right now and want to use my experience to better my career. Even though I occasionally feel the effects of aging, I think my greatest strength is my experience. I don't regret missing the opportunity to get married because I gave my all to my job. I'm currently searching for a steady job. I want to start over as a different person and demonstrate my skills once more. One day, I went to a job interview at First National Bank's headquarters, a significant financial organization with locations around the country. First National Bank offers a wide range of services, such as corporate investments, small business assistance, personal savings and loans, and consultancy. It is remarkably stable. I'm not sure the rumors about their efficiency-focused management are accurate, but it is said that the bank's president is preoccupied with getting things done quickly. I felt that a large bank would be the ideal setting for me to leverage my experience in the financial sector. That's why I chose to interview at this particular bank. In addition to job progress and financial security, I hope to advance even further in the field. I took the risk and applied for the interview because I thought I would be a great fit for a renowned, reputable bank. I was surrounded by a sense of energy as soon as I entered First National Bank's headquarters. Although I thought my prior experiences could be useful, I was unable to completely get over my nervousness. That didn't deter me, though, and I made it to the interview room on time. During the interview, I answered each question sincerely and felt a sense of accomplishment. The interviewers didn't show any particular expressions, but at least their reactions weren't cold, which was a relief. As I walked down the hallway after the interview, I suddenly heard a voice behind me. "Hey, you there?" "Yes." I turned around, a bit confused. A man with a sharp gaze approached me with a blank expression. The intensity of his presence made me involuntarily hold my breath. There was no doubt he was the bank president, Thomas Taylor. Thomas held immense power as the president of First National Bank. Currently 58 years old, he graduated with a degree in economics and earned an MBA from a young age. He showcased his talents and quickly rose to prominence within the bank. However, behind his success, he was known for being ruthless and self-centered. Although his management skills were highly regarded in the financial industry, there were rumors that his methods were extremely self-serving. When he was appointed president, whispers circulated that he had used his employees to crush his competitors. As these thoughts ran through my mind, the president stopped in front of me and asked with a piercing glare, "You didn't just interview here, did you?" "Yes, I interviewed today. My name is Jessica Sanders." I noticed my voice was stiffer than I expected and chuckled to myself inwardly. He looked me up and down from head to toe and let out a mocking snort. "You're job hunting at your age? What?" I was bewildered by his unexpected comment. "What do you mean by that?" As I struggled to grasp his meaning, he gave me a derisive smirk. "You look to be about my age, Or are you just aging poorly? At that moment, I felt a chill deep in my chest. However, I managed to stay calm and barely replied, I'm 52 years old. Oh, I knew it. 52 isn't the age for job hunting. Maybe it's time to pick up some retirement hobbies instead. Before I could process his words, he continued, cornering me further. Well, as long as someone's capable, I won't complain. But I doubt we'd hire someone that close to retirement. Don't get your hopes up too much. Just wait for the result. Humiliation and anger swirled in my chest, but I knew arguing here wouldn't be wise. Excuse me. That was all I said before turning and walking away. I made sure my steps were steady, but inside, my resentment toward the president's mockery was boiling. A week later, I received an official job offer from First National Bank and returned to the headquarters for the onboarding process. A mix of excitement over the offer, nerves about my new workplace, and unease regarding the president churned within me as I walked down the hallway, reviewing my paperwork. I saw the president appear in front of me once again. I let out an involuntary whisper. Excuse me? Oh, you're that job applicant from last time, aren't you? What are you doing here? He noticed me and stopped in his tracks. His icy gaze was as intimidating as ever, and I almost flinched. Well, I received an official job offer from your bank. I look forward to working with you. Really? I could have sworn I checked a list of new hires. What was your name again? It's Jessica Sanders, I answered. When I did, the president furrowed his brow as though trying to recall something. Oh, yeah, I think that was your name. I do remember there was one applicant from a single-parent household in this batch. That was probably me. He narrowed his eyes, looking surprised. Well, it was you. You grew up in a single-parent household? Wow. I didn't think our recruiters would hire someone from that background. Well, is there a problem with that? I asked, my voice a mixture of shock and confusion. He answered with a look of disdain. Oh, absolutely. People from single-parent households don't exactly radiate the kind of class you'd expect from a banker. I don't think that's true. His words pierced me like a dagger. I managed to mutter a small rebuttal, but he sneered and continued. Jessica, was it? Are you seriously trying to argue with the president of this bank? No, that's not my intention. I couldn't afford to lose this job. That thought held back my words. Eventually, he shrugged with irritation and walked off. I quickly hurried away from the spot as well. Once I completed the paperwork and stepped outside, I took in the crisp, cold air, calming my turbulent emotions. Now that I had secured the position, I needed to carefully consider how to handle my interactions with him moving forward. That heavy feeling weighed on my chest. After the offer letter, I attended the pre-employment orientation 2 weeks later. As I headed to the venue, excitement bubbled up inside me, and I felt motivated for the future. As I entered the room, a familiar figure approached from the back. It was the president. Oh, I finally found you. I've been looking for you. Wait, you've been looking for me? I replied, puzzled. What does he want? A bad feeling brushed over my mind. With a cold gaze fixed on me, he walked over slowly and said something outrageous. Sorry, but your job offer has been revoked. What? I couldn't help but shout in disbelief. The other new hires and bank staff around us looked equally confused, unsure of what was happening. My mind went blank, but I summoned the courage to ask, did I do something wrong? 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 Well, you did show a defiant attitude toward me before, but that's not the issue. We don't hire poor people from single-parent families. What did you just say? I asked. He sneered, his tone dripping with sarcasm. My eyes widened in shock. At that moment, I witnessed an unbelievable scene. The bank staff around us burst into laughter at his words. There was something strange about their expressions, and their smiles seemed strained. The new hires around me stood there in stunned silence. I felt as though my heart was being crushed on the spot. My lips trembled with humiliation, and I struggled to speak. Why would you cancel my job offer just because I come from a single-parent household? I already told you before. People from single-parent families don't have the sophistication necessary for banking. Our bank has built a reputation as a major institution. We can't have someone like you, poor and nearing retirement age, working here. Are you serious? That's unbelievably cruel. His words were as cold and cruel as ice, stabbing straight through me. I asked in a trembling voice, but he smirked. Say whatever you want. I've already decided that you're not joining this bank. Go home. Understood. I'm leaving. I forced out the words and turned my back. I tried to remain calm as I walked out of the room, but inside, sadness and anger raged. As I stepped outside the bank, I walked while confronting the emotions surging within me. I swore to myself that I would make the president pay for this humiliation. Biting my lip, I made a firm vow in my heart. When I arrived home, I stepped to the front door with heavy steps. Normally, I'd walk in the door and call out cheerfully, "I'm home." But today, I couldn't even do that. Noticing me, my mom, Karen, peered out from the kitchen. "Jessica, you're back early. Was the orientation at your new job already over?" "Well, yeah," I answered, trying to sound calm, but I could tell my voice was shaking slightly. Before my mom could say anything more, I hurried into my room. The next morning at breakfast, my mom spoke to me again. "Jessica, did something happen yesterday? Talk to me. But it's fine, just tell me. I'm here to listen." Those words made me open up about what happened the day before. I told her that the president had canceled my job offer because I came from a single-parent household. As I spoke, my mom's face turned red with anger, and she clenched her fists. "Are you kidding me with that?" she snapped, grabbing her smartphone. "Mom, just wait," I said. "I'm calling that president right now." With a fearsome expression, my mom put the phone on speaker and efficiently connected to the president. After a few rings, his voice came through the speaker. "This is Thomas Taylor." "Oh, Thomas, you've got some nerve," my mom exclaimed. "I'm closing my $500 million account." "What?" After a brief silence, his panicked voice echoed. He had no idea that belittling a single-parent family would bring such harsh consequences. "What do you mean? Why all of a sudden?" "I just wanted to inform you that I'll be visiting your bank soon to handle the necessary paperwork. That's all." "Please wait. I'll head to your house immediately," he announced in a fluster. "I'll make time." And with that, he ended the call. My mom calmly set her phone down. An hour later, the president arrived at our home. Our doorbell rang, and when I opened the door, Thomas was standing there. He looked shocked to see me. "Why are you here? This is my mom's in my home." "Your mom?" he started. I nodded calmly as I replied, "Yes, the person who just called you, Karen Sanders, is my mother." "No way." His eyes widened in disbelief. "You're supposed to be some poor girl from a single-parent home." "Who are you calling poor?" "Oh, no." Karen appeared from the back, where she had briefly stepped away. His voice trembled with fear as he shrank in front of her. "Karen, why on earth would you decide to close your $500 million account?" "Thomas, you're familiar with my mom, aren't you?" I looked straight at him. He quickly began explaining in a fluster. "Of course. She's a founder and chairwoman of Sanders Beauty, that renowned cosmetics company, and a private investor. She's one of our most important clients." My mom remained calm, her eyes cold as she gazed at him with a faint smile on her lips. My mom, Karen Sanders, is known both domestically and internationally as the chairwoman of Sanders Beauty. The brand is famous for its high-quality skincare products made with natural ingredients and has established itself as a highly trusted name. Since I was a child, I admired her commitment to the principle that true beauty comes from health and her dedication to social contribution and environmental protection. It was more than just business to her. My mom placed great importance on fulfilling social responsibilities, not just achieving corporate success, and she stood firm on her values. Her upbringing was unimaginably harsh. She grew up in a rural village shortly after World War II, living in extreme poverty. In her teens, she lost her father and supported her mother and younger siblings while attending school. Because of those hardships, she carried a strong resolve and left her hometown to seize new opportunities in the city. She gave up attending college, studied business and marketing on her own, and paved her way through hands-on experience. That's why she was often praised as a practical genius. She started a small cosmetic sales business and gradually built it from the ground up. Even after marrying my dad and having me, we didn't live a wealthy life for a while. However, thanks to her honest business approach and innovative products, she earned her customers' trust. Eventually, she expanded the business and established Sanders Beauty. The brand quickly gained success both nationally and internationally, and now generates billions of dollars annually. While her management skills are exceptional, she's also known for being strict yet fair with her employees and is highly respected within the company. I grew up watching her work, often in awe of her. It turns out my mom had deposited $500 million in First National Bank. That money came from her company's profits and personal investments. Closing an account with that much money would have a massive impact on the bank. That's why Thomas was in a state of panic. Thomas, do you still not understand why I said I'm closing my $500 million account? He still looked clueless as my mom calmly questioned him. She sighed and pointed out the real issue. You canceled my daughter's job offer for an unreasonable reason, didn't you? That's when my mom slowly turned to me and met my eyes. Jessica, tell me again, what exactly did he say to you? I responded. He said, we don't hire poor people from single-parent families. Come on, you didn't have to be that honest. The moment those words left his mouth, he jumped in, flustered. My mom's voice grew even colder. What do you mean by that? Explain yourself. He stammered, unable to form a proper response as my mom stared him down without relenting. Then he glanced at me and suddenly asked, why didn't you tell me your mom was Karen? I thought you already knew and made those comments regardless. I told you my full name multiple times, didn't I? That alone isn't enough for me to figure it out, he muttered under his breath as my mom glared at him sharply. But I pressed on without hesitation. Why didn't you notice? If you had properly reviewed my profile, you would have known what my mom does for a living. He fell silent, beads of nervous sweat forming on his forehead. The truth is, during my interview, I answered all the questions honestly, including those about my mom. The interview notes should have contained that information. However, even though Thomas knew Karen Sanders was a major client of the bank, he never realized she was my mom. His prejudice against single-parent families made him overlook accurate information about me. He swallowed hard, rendered speechless, perhaps overwhelmed by the reality of the situation. He remained silent. My mom maintained her firm and composed demeanor. In the first place, is it inappropriate to ask about an applicant's family during an interview? I thought asking about family background was prohibited. We only asked just in case. Of course, we never base our hiring decisions on someone's family background, he said. Then why was my job offer revoked yesterday? You rejected me because I come from a single-parent household, right? I asked calmly, but his answer was vague. Well, that is, be honest. If you lie, I won't forgive you. Yes, ma'am, he said, and my mom's icy words made him flinch. Reluctantly, he began explaining the truth. According to him, his outdated beliefs led him to assume that my background could negatively affect the bank's image and clientele, prompting his misguided decision. In other words, it was the president's prejudice that led to the cancellation of my job offer. Apparently, he frequently asked interviewees about their family backgrounds and only hired those he deemed fit for a banking position. Once Thomas finished his explanation, the room fell silent. The atmosphere grew heavy until my mom spoke again. So, you instructed the interviewers to ask about family backgrounds? I'm appalled. I'm so sorry, he said, though his voice trembled with fear. There wasn't a shred of sympathy in my mom's eyes. Yes, we were a single-parent family, and we were poor in the past. But Jessica has excelled as a banker for years despite all that. His dumbfounded response made my mom chuckle coldly as she continued. You instruct your interviewers to pry into applicants' backgrounds, yet you don't know a thing yourself. My mom then began explaining my career history. I had worked for years in the corporate sales department of a regional bank. I handled numerous loan projects and was praised for my attentive customer service, earning a reputation among local businesses and sole proprietors as honest and trustworthy. My supervisors consider me a strong candidate for a management role, and I was often sought out by my colleagues in the corporate sales department for advice. Based on those achievements, the interviewers at First National Bank highly value my abilities and extended me a job offer. However, Thomas was completely unaware of these facts and judged me solely based on his prejudice against single parent families. When my mom finished recounting my accomplishments, his face had gone pale, as though he was regretting his actions. Why didn't you tell me all of this sooner? As I said earlier, I assumed you already knew, but it appears I was mistaken. Hearing his feeble excuse, I couldn't suppress my frustration and responded with a hint of sarcasm. Thomas was at a loss for words. Anyway, I can't trust a bank led by someone like you. I plan to transfer the $500 million to another bank. My mom's icy voice rang through the room, making him visibly panic. I'm begging you, please reconsider. If you withdraw that much money, it will severely affect our bank's operations and reputation. I don't care. Just prepare everything. I'll be visiting soon to finalize the paperwork. My mom said. He desperately pleaded for her to keep the funds in his bank, but my mom remained stone-faced with a resolute tone. She dismissed him and sent him out of our home entirely. A week later, my mom and I visited the headquarters of First National Bank. By then, I had already come to terms with the reality of my rescinded job offer. I was ready to take the next step toward a new future. As we waited in the reception area for the transfer process, hurried footsteps approached. When I turned around, I saw Thomas running toward us, drenched in sweat. Karen, I have been waiting for you. Please reconsider transferring the money. He was out of breath as he pleaded, but my mom stared at him coldly. Thomas, I've already made my decision. I'm deeply sorry about what happened with your daughter. We'll undo the job offer cancellation. Please, I'm begging you, he said, practically groveling. However, his words didn't sway me in the slightest. No, I can't forgive you. Why not? I've apologized to you many times. I know the truth. I'm aware that you've harassed other employees at your bank as well. His eyes widened in shock as I calmly confronted him with the facts. Over the past week, I had gathered information about First National Bank. What I found confirmed numerous instances of misconduct and unfair treatment orchestrated by the president himself. Those facts painted a clear picture of just how irresponsible and ruthless he was as the bank's leader. The first thing that caught my attention was how the president applied excessive pressure and demanded accountability from the staff whenever a department's performance declined. He would publicly blame the entire department or individual employees, saying things like, "Your results define you." He would pressure employees who were behind on their targets and evaluate them on the spot. If they didn't meet the numbers, he'd hint at demotions or terminations, leaving the staff crushed by fear and anxiety. Thinking about the pain those employees endured made my heart ache. Moreover, his ruthless performance evaluation system was a serious issue. He would directly tell unperforming employees, "You're not cut out for banking." He forcibly encouraged competition between departments, which only led to discord and distrust among the staff. The atmosphere within the bank worsened even further. The internal politics were horrendous, and Thomas would openly cold shoulder or ignore rival employees and executives. No matter how capable someone was, if they didn't align with his preferences, he showed no mercy. Even more shocking, he completely disregarded requests for workplace improvements with phrases like, "Banks exist to make a profit." He continuously ignored the need to improve working conditions. This attitude fueled dissatisfaction and lower morale throughout the workplace. After hearing my explanation, Thomas, visibly shaken, tried to argue back. "That's just a rumor, right? What proof do you have? I was an auditor before. Remember? Gathering information wasn't difficult." Damn it. He fell silent, unable to refute my words. Looking at him, I felt once again how reckless and foolish his actions were. Also, someone I know used to work at this bank. They told me how unbearable the pressure you put on employees was, and how they eventually had to resign. The president they were referring to, that was you. I spoke calmly, watching his reaction. His expression grew darker. "That can't be." I heard it directly from them. When my job offer was rescinded, the way the employees laughed unnaturally. It was probably because they felt compelled to appease you. I looked straight at him. His lips trembled slightly, and he couldn't find any words to respond. I felt that the laughter that day wasn't born out of malice, but rather out of fear. In an environment where they couldn't defy the president's authority, they were forced to plaster fake smiles and play along. They didn't have a choice. Defying the president could jeopardize their careers. I quietly glanced around at the employees nearby, unable to bear my gaze. Some of them looked down, their faces filled with guilt. Thomas had no choice but to remain silent. I've already accepted that my offer was rescinded, and I've decided to apply at another bank, so there's no stopping my mom from transferring her funds. Exactly. My mom nodded, and her cold, resolute words made his face turn even paler. This can't be. The employees working here should either quit or report this bank externally. If it were me, I wouldn't hesitate. Each word felt like a sharp dagger. The surrounding employees began to murmur, and the tension spread. Please stop, Jessica. You shouldn't work at a place like this. You're right. I'll apply to a better bank next, I said. My conversation with my mom solidified my resolve. No matter how hard the president pleaded, I felt no attachment to this place. I'm truly sorry. I'll keep apologizing for the rest of my life and offer you special treatment. So please convince Karen not to close her account. He begged, but his words didn't move me at all. No, thank you. I will not forgive you. Neither will I. I'm done with this bank. I never thought it would come to this. Watching his face contorted in despair, I spoke without hesitation. Hearing my mom's resolute words, he collapsed, sitting down on the floor. Ignoring him, my mom and I completed the necessary paperwork. The moment we stepped outside the bank, the fresh air felt comforting. My determination to take the next step toward a new future grew stronger in my heart. After we returned home, we reflected on the events of the day. We could only imagine the blow that withdrawing such a large sum of money would deal to the bank's liquidity. In reality, the impact was far more severe than expected. Uncertainty spread within the bank, and cracks in its management became increasingly visible. Moreover, employees who had long resented the president's unjust practices finally decided to speak out. The united employees exposed the harsh working conditions to the public, and the media widely covered the story. The articles revealed the harsh details of the bank's toxic environment, leading to public outrage. Even the Financial Regulatory Agency was forced to step in, launching an audit and holding the bank's leadership accountable. Ultimately, Thomas was dismissed by the board of directors. His fall from grace was swift. After his dismissal, he was fired from the bank, faced massive compensation claims, and even his personal life fell apart. His wife filed for divorce, and his relationship with his children was completely severed. Attempts to switch to another bank and the industry failed as his bad reputation had spread, and no institution would take him. As a last resort, he accepted a low-level position at a small local credit union, but his pride made him an outcast there too, and he eventually resigned. Afterward, Thomas began living alone in a rundown apartment in the suburbs, struggling under the weight of debt repayments, a story that gossip columns covered gleefully. Clinging to his past glory, he took on part-time jobs to make ends meet, but even so, he was completely abandoned by those around him. The only solace he found was retelling his old heroic stories at a cheap bar in town, but no one cared to listen. Meanwhile, First National Bank found itself on the brink of bankruptcy and was placed under the supervision of the financial authorities, who initiated a reconstruction plan. The newly appointed management shifted their focus toward improving customer satisfaction, but regaining lost trust would take a long time. Many of the employees who spoke out successfully started fresh at other financial institutions, with some earning high praise in their new roles. They were working to rebuild their lives step by step, determined to reclaim what they had lost. As for me, I've since transferred to another major bank, and I'm thriving in the corporate sales department. My past experience has proven invaluable in my current role, and I can feel myself growing day by day. Since joining this new environment, I've often received high praise from my supervisors and colleagues. My honest and calm approach to work has earned me trust within the bank. I've realized that overcoming those tough times has made me who I am today. As a result, new promotion opportunities have come my way. I'm truly grateful that my hard work has been recognized, giving me a clear path to the next step. With renewed determination, I'm ready to continue striving toward my goals. Meanwhile, my mom remains at the helm of Sanders Beauty as chairwoman, continuing to lead the company. Her business is thriving, and under her leadership, the brand is growing stronger and making great strides in social contribution efforts. Her support in my decision to switch careers and her pride in me have given me the confidence to fully dedicate myself to my work. The bond between us has deepened even further. I regularly receive advice from my mom, and sometimes we travel together or have fun chats about beauty and health. Those moments have become a great source of emotional strength for me. The success of her company has brought stability to our family, allowing me to stay focused on my career, cherishing the value of working with integrity and sincerity that I inherited from her. I plan to continue advancing toward even higher goals.